Hey everybody, welcome back to Between Sessions with Berries. Today's guest is Brie Chrisman. She's the founder and CEO of Bosco, a human-first virtual operations management company with over 15 years of experience in project management and operations. Brie is on a mission to help CEOs, especially in the mental health space, stop drowning in the back end of their business and thrive. She's known for helping practices increase profits without adding more clients, building teams that actually function, and turning overwhelm into smooth systems. If you've ever felt like your business is running you, this episode is an invitation for you to run things differently. Brie, welcome. I'm so excited to have you back as a guest. I had you on my other podcast, and I had to have you back on this podcast because I wanted everybody to hear about you.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, when I was prepping for this podcast today, I was like, oh my gosh, the conversation we had on the other podcast was so great. I couldn't wait to be on this one as well.
Oh, I'm so excited. So let's dig in and just maybe tell people a little bit about what you do, because I think a lot of therapists probably just don't even have a clue what your role is, especially ones that are new to private practice or in solo private practice and just starting out. So let's talk about that first.
We handle, if you boil it down to just like one little thing, we help you on the business side. Nice. So think of all the schooling that you have, all of the studies that you have to do, undergrad, grad school, if you have a PhD, your doctorate, all of your clinical hours, all of your pre-licensure, all of that. Unless you seek it out on your own, I guarantee that you've had zero business classes.
Yes.
Which I find absolutely insane because 50% of mental health therapists go into private practice.
Yeah.
And so the fact that that is clearly lacking in mental health studies is frankly negligent, but
totally.
It's a lot harder to fix a system. So we're here to fix it on the end by fixing your back end of your business. And so we really focus on the operations of the business. So looking at how you operate, how your team operates, what your systems look like. And by systems, I mean, how do you onboard clients? How do you onboard clinicians? How do you do your payroll? How do you take payments from clients? How does your marketing work? We don't do marketing, but we focus on, once you get people to your website, once you get people in the door and they're interested, we kind of pick it up from there and make sure that the process to get them from interested to client is seamless.
Yeah.
And so those are kind of some examples of the types of things we do. I have an amazing all-woman team, and
nice.
We are super passionate about mental health, and we love working with our therapists, and we help with day-to-day support all the way up to fractional practice directing. So it's really meeting you wherever you are and figuring out what your goals are and getting you to that point.
Mm-hmm. This is such an important topic. Like, when I think about operations, first of all, my brain shuts down because that's just not even how I function. And I think back to, 2008 is when I decided I'm going to start a private practice. And I was lucky enough to find an office on Craigslist. I was like, let me look on Craigslist for an office. And it happened to be a therapist office that was inviting clinicians in. And one of the therapists there was just so nice. And she basically helped me figure out how to do a private practice. That's literally the only way I figured it out. And then just like winging it. You couldn't even really Google that stuff back then. You know what I mean? To figure out all these systems and everything. So
yeah.
So operations is basically what you just said, right? It's how do I get people in the door? How do I have a smooth intake process? All of that, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So think of your operations like a book. So operations is the full book. Your systems are chapters. So that's individual. So think your client onboarding is one system. Your clinician onboarding is another. Scheduling is another. And then within each chapter, you have your processes, and those, think maybe pages. And the processes are, during client onboarding, you have how do we bring leads in? And then our follow-up process, and then our consult process, and then document process, things like that. So those are all those processes. And then within those processes, you have your step-by-step. How do you actually do it? And those are the words. So that's kind of the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
It sounds so, every time someone does operations, you're every time someone asks me, what do you do? I was operations. And they're like,
Okay. A vague, distancing in their eyes. It's like,
Yes.
okay, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it really boils down to how you run your business. And we don't just look at the actual, like what's on paper, the processes and stuff. We really look at how you run, if you're a group practice owner, how you run your team, how are you leading and managing? How is your team structured? Are you focused on empowering your employees and focusing on their strengths? Are you big brothering a little bit? And then, looking at how you actually work during the day. Are you batching your tasks? Are you jumping from session to notes to a social media post to searching for a dress for a wedding you have to go to in a month? That was my night last night. And things like that, and just jumping from thing to thing to thing.
So having 50 tabs open and just hopping from one to the other is not a good strategy. Okay, because that's what I do.
No, I mean, same. Sometimes I try really hard to batch tasks.
Yeah.
So focusing on, and it's really an executive function method. And I know that I'm preaching to the choir, and every therapist listening to this is like, oh, I know executive function. I know executive dysfunction and decision fatigue and all of that. But it's so difficult when someone on the outside tells you, and just remember, like, hey, all the stuff that you tell your clients also applies to you.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah. And so I was actually talking to a potential client the other day, and she was like, yeah, I'm taking over the other office in the building, and all I want to do is just shop for office furniture. And I was like, that's great. Where are you at on your notes?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's set a timer and get our stuff done. And then our reward is shopping. And so, that's one, making sure that you're getting that stuff done before you do your dopamine hit. And then, but also when you're jumping from thing to thing, you are stretching that decision fatigue. So if you are doing notes and you see you have a tab open for your inbox and you see an email pop up or you get that little ding, and you jump to that, well, that's a decision. You're getting out of your notes brain, your clinical brain, into your admin brain. Then you have to think up a response. That's another decision. You have to decide, if it's 9 o'clock, do you send it now or do you schedule it for the morning? That's another decision. Then you go back and you're like, where was I?
Yeah.
And then it takes you, 2 to 3 minutes of trying to figure it out. And half the time we're just like, it's the end of the night. I'll finish it tomorrow. And then it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
And so really focusing on, batching those tasks. So if you are doing sessions and then you have like an hour, focus on notes, stay in that clinical brain, unless you're just so, you have really hard sessions or something and you're just so emotionally past capacity.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even touch it. I need to do something mindless. Then just focus on your inbox or just focus on payroll or something, things like that.
Yeah.
And really that way, if you're not jumping from thing to thing, you're not overextending your brain. And we know as therapists, it's such a different CEO brain especially for a practice owner. I'm a CEO as well, but our roles are very different because yes, I do hold space for the emotions of my clients, but it's not nearly the same as a therapist CEO.
Yeah.
And so having that, and if you're not a business owner, it's still the same. Like, you still have to do your notes. You still have to make sure your clients are scheduled. So you're kind of a mini CEO. And really just getting all of that done while also holding space for the emotions of your clients, for their problems, for your problems, all of that is exhausting. So the more you can do to give your brain a little space, the better.
Nice. And, it's so easy for us to say, well, I'm a therapist. Obviously, I know how to organize and use methods to help with, my ADD brain or whatever. But it really pays to have somebody on the outside looking in to say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Or the way you're doing this is just like ridiculous. Like, it makes literally no sense. Even though in our brains, it makes perfect sense. But I have a business manager, my online business manager. She's invaluable. Bringing her in finally and having her say, no, you are not doing this. We're putting this in the brain dump pile and you're not going to touch it for 6 months because you already have too many things on your list. Like, just having somebody to direct me that way has been super helpful for me, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so valuable.
Someone you can delegate to, that will tell you, because obviously especially if you're listening to this and you are a practice owner, you obviously have some sort of entrepreneurial spirit. You may not have wanted to run a business, but you were fed up with the systems and the practices that you worked at, and you didn't like the way it was running, so you started your own. You
Exactly.
are effectively a change maker, and so that means that you have bigger goals. You have tons of ideas. I'm not typically an idea person, but I need to be at least a little bit to be, to have opened my own company. And for someone to come in and be like, this is not your job. This is not, this is a great idea for 2027.
Yeah.
And we're recording this in 2025 for what it's worth. And so it really is, like you said, it's invaluable to have that outside perspective, even if it's not a business manager or a fractional practice director. If it's literally just like an assistant day to day that's just helping you wade through the chaos of your brain.
Absolutely.
And helping you put the pieces in place. And everyone knows that saying that doctors are the worst patients.
Yeah.
And I will say that a lot of times therapists don't have the capacity, their executive function is all over the place.
Yeah.
But that's what makes you amazing therapists, is because you can follow that trajectory of you have to be able to have that, I want to say bounceability, but that is not the right word, but
flexibility or something to be able to go with the flow.
Jump. Yes. Yeah. And so that typically, for your clients, and that typically translates into business as well, which is great. And if you're a solo practitioner, it totally works. But once you, if you want to scale, if you want to grow, you want multiple offices, you want more than 4 clinicians, you're going to need to streamline, and you're going to need to find that rhythm that's a lot more organized and efficient, and it can't run the way that your brain works.
Yeah.
It has to work for your brain, but it can't be I'm trying to do it with my hands, but obviously if you're listening to this, you can't see my hands, but zigzagging all over the place.
Exactly. Okay, so I've got a couple questions. One is what made you decide to pick therapist as your focus? Why did you go that route? I'm just curious for everybody listening. What's the background that got you into this? Because I feel like we're a hard bunch probably to work with in this capacity.
It is definitely it's different than, we still have a few clients that are not therapists. They've been with us forever. They kind of got grandfathered in when we made this shift. I have a special place in my heart for mental health. I've gone through my own mental health journey, as every adult in the U.S. in 2025 right now. We are all going through our own mental health journey.
Yeah.
And I can give so much credit to the therapists that I have seen for my life and my transformation and where I am today, that has always been very important to me. And so when I started the company in 2020, one of my first clients was a therapist.
Oh, nice.
And so from there, she was a great referral source. She referred out to another therapist that came on, and then kind of it just started rolling from there. And then word got out. There are other operations agencies for mental health practices, but they really focus more on the marketing and the client growth side, whereas we really focus on the backend support.
Nice.
And so to help you grow, because you can have the best advertising agency in the world, you can have the best marketing strategy, you can have the best, the best conversion for Google ads, but if they come to your company and you can't effectively run that and effectively grow with those clients, it's going to break.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so I would argue that operations are more important. And we're really the only company out there doing this.
That's amazing.
In this capacity.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why we went in. So in 2023, I had my own journey of severe postpartum depression, and I we grew really fast that year, and it hit me that I was like, I don't like where we're going. I don't like the quality of care we're giving. I don't like a lot of the clients were all amazing, but I'm like, I just don't like the services we're providing. It just doesn't fit. And I was like, what if we just go all into mental health? 90% of our clients were in the mental health space at that point anyway. And so I was like, we can go so much deeper into knowledge of the mental health space. We can provide so much more to our therapists. And honestly, our clients that were museums or PR firms or photographers and things like that, do they need our services? Absolutely. But there's 1.5 million other options out there. Whereas mental health, I felt a calling to be able to do that. And I honestly have said most of my life that I absolutely could have been a therapist in a different life. I have that brain, and I would have if I could do it over, I might have done that. But this is kind of my way of being able to be in the mental health space and to support
that.
mental health community, because I do have an operations brain.
Yeah.
And so I can use my gift for good in that way instead. So
It's amazing.
And our whole team loves working with therapists. It's a fun group. It's, we wake up every day and operations it's not life or death.
Yeah.
But it can make a difference in someone's life drastically.
Absolutely. And on the therapist end, I mean, having that level of back end stuff taken care of, I feel like just like reduces burnout so much. If a clinician can get to the point where they feel like they can hire someone to help, because,
Yes.
That's a real step point, I think. And I wonder if you have advice about that. Like when does a therapist decide, okay, I am burning out. I realize it. I need someone to help me. What is that like crucial turning point where they say, okay, like I need to bring on somebody like you, or, like how do they decide that? Because I'm sure they weigh the costs and it's like, I could keep doing it. We're strong. We're like resilient. We could do this. We see so many different clients, and we deal with that.
Yes.
We can do this. I'm just going to keep pushing. So like, where's that breaking point? Like that you see with therapists that you work with, but they're finally like, okay, this is it.
Yeah. It's that like almost that martyrdom and that like selflessness that therapists have and feel like they need to do. And I'm here to say that you do not have to be a martyr. You can make a great income. You don't have to sacrifice. You can ask for help. That's my PSA.
Yeah, I love it.
And really, we see typically when clients come to us, they're at some sort of junction where they're either, I want to grow my income, but I am already seeing as many clients as I can see, and I just can't do anything else. So I want someone to help me take off the business side so I can focus on my clients. Or I want to grow my practice. We're at like 5 clinicians, but we're kind of tapering. And so I want to be able to bring on more, but I don't have any systems to support me. Or like, I am so ungoodnessly burned out that I literally can't do anything, and I am stuck in freeze mode, and I need someone to just come in and just pick me up and put me where I need to be. And so those are really the places that we see people coming in and coming to talk to us. And they'll hear something like a podcast or be like, oh, yeah, I need that. And that is why we have the different kind of services for people, because it's not a one size fits all. We've worked with other companies out there. We've talked to people who have worked with other companies out there. They're like, they have this template and it's great, and they have a tried and true process, but then they try to fit us into that process instead of trying to adjust the process to us. And we don't do that. We are very much bespoke. Like, we have tried and true processes, but we're going to accommodate, and we're going to figure out how it works in your in the way that you work. And also, we know that growth goals aren't just, okay, I want to have 50 clinicians and 3 offices. It can be, I want to be able to take a 1-month sabbatical every single year. I want to pass off, and I don't even want to be in the day-to-day of my practice at some point because I want to be a speaker and an author, and I want to do all of this. Or I do want to grow my practice because I am working with a marginalized community, and I want to be able to provide as much service as possible. All of those goals are amazing, and they're all growth goals, whether it's personal growth or business growth. And so once we know that goal, we're like, okay, well, let's work backwards, and we need to figure that out and figure out what you need today. And if that's just like, let me just take a couple things off your plate, if that's telling you what's not your job, if that's like you, Kim, if telling you, well, that's in the brain dump pile, don't touch it, don't think about it. And so, if you are one of those types of people, like if one of those people, you feel like that sounds like me, there are some things you can do without having to hire right away. If you are like, I am so burned out, but just hiring someone sounds absolutely miserable because it's just one more thing on my plate. There's so many things that you can do to alleviate. And I mean, they're probably short, stop gaps and short term.
What are there? Are there a couple, like, just for the listeners that maybe aren't ready, but they're like, I need some relief? Do you have like your kind of like go-to beginning starter, like organize this crap place to help people start?
Yes. And it'll take you a little bit of time,
Yeah.
but the more time you put in on the front end, the more time you'll have on the back end. Template all of your emails. So
Nice.
especially if you're using Google,
Mm.
if you're writing an email, if you're writing like roughly the same email when a lead comes in from Psych Today or My Wellbeing or ZocDoc, wherever, use the template feature. You can literally just Google, how do I set up templates in my Gmail? You have to turn it on a setting in the Gmail settings. It's super easy though.
Nice.
Very straightforward, but template all of those. So that way when you're sending emails, if like referral emails, same thing. Client scheduling emails, same thing. Anything that you're sending, if you're sending the same email at least twice a week, template it. And that will save you so much time and brain power, because it's not just about the time, it's about the effort of putting in like the brain power to write the words.
Yeah.
And so that is a huge one. If it's more of like I don't have the finances to be able to hire someone, I guarantee there are so many hidden places that we could save you in your budget. That's, doing an expense audit, go through your bank statements and figure out, okay, am I using this software? Are there softwares that I can get rid of that I'm, that kind of overlap with something? Am I paying monthly instead of yearly? And if there's a capacity for that in your budget, go to yearly, because generally there's like a 10, 20, 30% savings. Also, this is one that most people don't even think about, is look at what tier you're on of your subscriptions for your software. If you're not using those features, or if you're using one feature that you could probably do manually, but it's going to save you like $300 a year, bump that sucker down.
Nice.
Don't pay all that for just that one feature. We did an expense audit for one of my clients. It was the expense audit we did last year. We hadn't done one in a while. Just by doing those 3 things, we saved her $3,000 a year.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, and even if it's just like, you think $5 here, $10 there, it adds up. And so if you're...
Yeah, and I was going to say,
ahead.
Even with my coaching clients that I work with, I tend to go through this stuff a little bit too, because it's like, how much is your hourly rate worth,
Yes.
and how many hours are you like literally spending like suffering through rewriting emails or whatever, we're talking about. Like, let's do like a cost analysis here. Like, could you pay somebody like $50 an hour to do like 3 or 4 hours of work for you a month, like that kind of thing? Like, just thinking about that. Like, therapists don't think I hate to generalize therapists, and I would hate for somebody to be listening and be like, I think of that stuff, but really generally, my brain doesn't work like that. I've had to force myself to start thinking like that,
And it's the easiest way to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And the breakdown that I love to use, I think I use it like weekly, is if one email takes you 5 minutes to write, and that email, so say your hourly rate is $200 an hour and you have someone working for you for $50 an hour. One email, say you do it once a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, give you 2 weeks vacation. That takes almost 21 hours of your year.
Oh.
That's insane. That's over, if your hourly rate is $200 an hour, that's over $4,000. That's insane that you are losing by just writing that one email.
Exactly.
And so if you can template it, that'll save you, that'll take you 15 seconds instead, or maybe 30 seconds if you have to like customize it, or pass it off to someone else and have it templated. And then you're only going to pay like $200, $300, maybe $500, but it's saving you so much time, so much money, and also so much brain power. And going back to that executive function, that decision fatigue, if you're not even touching it, let alone templating it, if you're not even touching it, you can focus on so many other things, like your clients. Like if you wanted to do a new training, if you want to get certified in some other modality, if you want to write your book, if you want to lead your team, those are all things that you can focus on instead of the menial tasks that you can pass off to someone else. Not that they're not important, but as if they don't require your specific brain as the CEO, as a lead therapist, as a practice owner, you should not be doing it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Such good advice. So it's something we love to talk about on this podcast too, particularly because it's the Berries podcast, and we're an AI scribe company, and we're, just innovating every single day with AI and how to help therapists. Are there things that one, maybe your business is using to automate and make things run easier, or that you're seeing maybe even therapists using or recommending to therapists to help keep their lives going more smoothly?
Yeah, absolutely. We use a lot of automations. I find that automations are tricky
Yeah.
in therapy or in the medical community just because of HIPAA.
Yep.
And you have to, if they even do have HIPAA compliance, you have to pay an arm and a leg for it, which is insane. So we do a lot of things that are manually or semi-automated, so that way we can focus on the more important things that actually need a human brain.
Mhm.
But for example, when you're doing client onboarding, making sure that that online scheduling is turned on. For our like tried and true process, we use a form. It's a qualifier form. I've been told several times that it's a barrier to entry, but it's actually qualifying people, so that way you're not wasting your time.
Yeah.
And it gives you so much valuable insight, like if they are paying for it, or if a third party is paying for it, if they're using insurance, if they're in the right state, all the fun things. But then after that form, they're directly sent to schedule an appointment.
Smart.
So that not only gets you out of the back and forth of scheduling, but also you grab those people that are reaching out to you at like 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday.
Mhm.
Because I guarantee if they were just like to reach out to you and you don't reach back out till Monday, they're probably like, oh, no, I'm better. I slept. I'm good. Have no mental health problems whatsoever.
Totally.
Talk to those people. Been that person.
Same.
It happens. And so just automating that one little thing, it doesn't mean that you have to keep your whole schedule open for consults. Set your availability so you have little chunks, and that way you can batch them together so you can be in the same mindset. You can have 2 or 3 at the same time, or not at the same time, but back to back to back. Doesn't mean you have to put your scheduling, all of your appointment scheduling on if you don't want to, if you want to have full control of your schedule. Just setting your availability for consults so that people can auto schedule. The return on investment will be huge. You'll be able to book so many more consults, and you can be like out to dinner on a Friday night and you just get consults coming in and people scheduling, which is amazing.
That's amazing.
That is probably the easiest thing you can do. Templating emails, setting up auto reminders, using like a snooze function in Gmail. It doesn't really seem like an automation, but it is. So that way you're not having to remember, okay, did I send that follow-up? Do I need to send that follow-up? Where did that email go? And just like getting it out of your inbox, out of sight, out of mind. Scheduling it to come back when you want to send a follow-up.
Nice. Yeah.
Super easy. Those are like things that you can immediately implement within like 5 minutes.
Love that.
I mean, just little things like that can be in like clinician onboarding. There's so many things because you're not having to focus on HIPAA. So many things that you can do. We have a fully automated clinician onboarding system through Airtable that we do for a couple of clients.
Nice.
And Airtable is a database software if you've never heard of it. And it has made clinician onboarding so easy. And this is a practice that has grown. I mean, they onboard multiple clinicians every single month. And so we have a full process that has a nurture sequence of emails that trains them, that, has like high touch, high support. And I will say that the turnover for their practice, it was, typical turnover for therapists is about 2 years. Theirs was about 6 months.
Wow.
And it has drastically been reduced. I think it's like 62% that it's been reduced because of this new onboarding system and the nurturing and the support that the clinicians have. And it's pretty much mostly automated.
That's amazing.
There's a couple things we have to do manually, but it's all automated. It's not just for clients. It's so much, the back end, especially if you're not using any PHI or anything. It's huge what you can do and how you can make not just your life easier or to save time, but make your company culture better.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh. A nurturing onboarding system where you don't have to be involved in it. That's pretty good.
Right? I know. I've talked to, so many of our therapists have been saying how much they've been using AI scribing just because it makes their notes so much easier, because notes are the bane of their existence.
Oh my gosh.
And
yes,
it's so great. I am working with, we have therapists on a variety of different EHR, simple practice sessions, health, therapy notes, all the big ones. But there's a new company that I'm super excited about that I've been working with the past 6 months or so called Oasis Health.
Oh,
and
cool.
they are 3 Harvard grads that have parents that are therapists, and they are really transforming the EHR to be therapist focused and to really, they're being very intentional about how they build things, how the UX or like the user experience for the platform is. It's very pretty. It's a very nice platform to look at.
Nice.
It's very easy with navigation. And they are really listening to therapists of what they want and how they want things to work versus, the bigger EHR companies that are just thinking about what the VCs want, and what the donors want and the investors and things like that. And so they're phenomenal. And the cool thing that they're doing that's different than all the others is they're actually using AI a lot more, and they're embedding like Apple Health and Aura Rings and being able to connect that so therapists can really get, I'm sure especially with telehealth, there's so many clients that are, oh, I'm fine, but their blood pressure's through the roof. And because of that, and obviously the client they have to connect it and they have to give their consent.
Yeah.
But that gives the therapist a more overall health score for the client, which is really, really cool.
It's amazing. Yeah. And in telehealth, I mean, you see this much of your client, it's like, how do I know if you've gained 20 pounds if you're not telling me? I might not even be able to see it. Maybe your face might look a little puffy or whatever, but you can't, there's a lot you miss in the telehealth setting. Yeah.
I could be fidgeting right now. You'd never know.
Exactly.
I mean, it's, yeah. So that really gives a more full picture, especially with clients that aren't necessarily in a good health space and are really struggling.
That's amazing.
But not saying, yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I don't even know where our field's going to be in like 10 years. It's going to be insane.
The thing is, too, is it will be here, though. There's so much talk about, VCs and coming out, with the BetterHelps and all of those. And nothing will ever replace therapists because you just can't. I think we'll go through, this is me. I'm not speculating. I'm not an expert at trends or anything, but I really do think that we'll see a rise in AI and a huge jump. And then it will come almost like what cell phones are doing now, where people are getting landlines again and they're getting rid of cell phones because they don't want it. And I feel like that's kind of the thing that will happen. And people realize like, oh, no, we do need therapists. And I think there will be another boom. And I think that will be so great for the mental health community. We just got to get there.
Yeah. I mean, I just saw an article yesterday in Forbes about OpenAI making an announcement that basically they're going to put new safeguards in around mental health, like red flags, and they're going to be onboarding clinicians to basically refer to when any of those red flags pop up. So, I mean, I don't know what that'll look like. Will they be BetterHelp or they be like this really great paying, like place for therapists to go? Oh,
I'm sure BetterHelp, which is not going to be great. But I will say, though, like, if there's a red flag versus ChatGPT just trying to,
placate you,
give advice and tell you how great you are. Yeah, very different.
Exactly.
Very, very different. So,
It's very exciting. But anyway, so how do people find you? How do they work with you? How can they get started? Like if somebody's like, this is what I need. Tell us everything.
Our website is heybosco.com.
Okay.
We have a ton of great resources on our blog. We are setting up, I think I've said this a million times and it still hasn't happened yet, but we are setting up a digital store where we'll have templates and workbooks and things like that you can, it's a little bit, if you're not ready to work with someone, you can DIY and, still bootstrap and things like that. So it'll be beneficial for people who just want to do that DIY. Or if you are a therapist and have an operations brain, you're like, I got this. I just need a jumping off point. That's for you. And, we, from that to operations assistant, which will help kind of in your day-to-day, to HR management, if you're onboarding lots of clinicians, to fractional practice directing, we're really there as whatever you need, which is great. But we are on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, always sharing great resources, and definitely go on our website, again, heybosco.com, to sign up for our newsletter. We send out a couple emails a month, and it always has really good tips and tricks and things like that. So
love that. Thank you for taking the time today, Brie. I think it's going to be so helpful to anybody listening just to start getting that mindset at least of like, I need better systems and operations to make my life easier. Okay, everybody, check out Brie. Everything will be down in the show notes so you can learn more about how to work with it. Thanks, Brie.